Greetings. This is a review of Silicon Valley Comic Con Day 3. Final day of Silicon Valley Comic Con between roughly 10 and 3 today. The final day constituted a new cast and crew coming on board to. There were more people there. Probably a little less than Saturday, but thousands of them, so it was fine. I'm going to play the slideshow and then discuss the recap. So you're going to see the slideshow first. I'm going to play a little bit of what's already there. I'm going to skip to the part where, well, of course, there was audio in the background. So we're going to skip to right after I'm discussing the building, the venue, and from there. Silicon Valley Comic Con Day 3, Sunday. Yeah, so this is the theater that we get off at. Yeah, gonna go check that out. So, see you there. Okay, so we're at the con and Day 3, and there's the thing. And over here is the Flash panel this morning. The new TV show, The Flash. It's been on for like 2.5 years. Haven't seen any of it, so no interest in going in and seeing a show I have not seen. I totally should Netflix it and go on a binge watch and watch it, but I haven't done that. So yeah, and they were talking about that yesterday, and apparently they weren't paying attention to Discovery being about it being on All Access. So yeah. Anyway. Okay, here's Kitty Key, the martial sportist, who decided to show up and discuss the Kitty Key, the martial sportist outfit. And also he's wearing the Chimera fan film jacket, which is surreal, and the master belt. So, talking about the convention thing about the Flash that I didn't go into. I know we got some audio. I'm just going to keep going. Yeah, so there was a lot of people in line. What was going on here is that basically I didn't need to get in line because the line was going to open anyway, and I was just getting into different lines and getting out of them, and because I could, and there's nothing else to do. I knew they were all going to go in eventually, so no point in waiting there, right? I had a 3-day pass and I was good to go. But yes, so, and then we have some R2-D2s and other cosplayers. Less costumes. There were a lot, but there were less. It's not Fanime. It's Big Wow. Not Big Wow either. It's Comic-Con. I keep saying Big Wow and Fanime because it's kind of similar. Yeah, the overall story going on. People in different lines and things. Where this, a minor internet celebrity, very minor. And here I was just wandering around. And here's some more audio stuff with a little audio, which we can use because there's no music. The characters. Oh yes, the infamous Dark Flash.
Took his head off.
It was not Black Panther's Dark Flash, and Dark Flash has apparently dismembered the Flash and cut his head off, which I thought was actually pretty funny. but yes, that's what that was about. And then we cut to the Comic-Con author panel. The author story panel, which we discussed the author panels at Baycon before. But here is the sequel, in which they've gone over to Comic-Con, and they advise going to other author panels in the future that are coming up around the same time as Fanime. So be there for what most likely for them as well. And then we come to some more onto the dealer's floor near the horror hosts and talking to the authors on the panel as well. We did not interview them for the show. They're higher rank than the show. There's no point in me interviewing them. But so walked around the different places and venues. There were less of the direct costume stuff, less of the comic show, but there were people around looking to buy things on the final day, and they were making more money They were buying lots of things on their final day. And they came from all over the place. There was a lady that came from Alaska, mentioned it in a tea house afterward. There was people that have come from Pennsylvania and other parts of the world. Yesterday, there were fans from all over and other countries even come to it. Like there's some Indian people there and some Egyptians and stuff, and yeah, so and Asians from other countries. Yeah, so there was a whole group of people from some kind of a local fashion show thing. I didn't get footage of that because it was copyrighted, but they were at the coffee shop. They had their outfits. They were some kind of the mirror. They were part of the outside festivities. There were these pink mirror dressed up things, girls. And, yeah, they were dressed up in these pink things. Yeah, girls. Anyway, so yeah, so the story keeps going on, and we have Growly Cat in the background, and yes, Growly Cat. So yeah, and I'm gonna keep growing, cause we have more to show you at Comic-Con here, and yeah, going into more detail as we come to the end of that part of the show, and then cut to other things. Yeah, so everybody was pretty okay, cordial, I guess. And here we come to more. To lunch, mentioning lunch, having gone to lunch, I'm going to go to lunch. Yeah. And the panel, I mentioned the panel, self-publishing panel, and I'm just talking over myself, which is bizarre. And I mentioned one of the names. I think Bacon from years ago. Yeah. So that is somebody that knew of the stories, actually. Yeah, so actually, yeah, this Martian scene, it's not David Weber, that's another guy. It's Andy Weir. But yeah, Andy Weir, Martian. David Weber was someone else from Bacon 2015, I think. Yeah, it wasn't the same guy. Oh, 2014, Wonder Woman panel. Yeah, 2015 was the Wonder Woman one, and that's my Back to the Future car thingy. I have to do that every year when there's a Back to the Future car there, because sure, why not? So here's some shots in front of the DeLorean. I've come back from the future wearing that getup. That's pretty funny. So here we have. As Kitty Key is desperate to plug his character that has no backstory. Well, he's going to have a backstory, actually. Kitty Key is going to get his very own story, made from the pages of Bushido, his very own story. He appears briefly in some scenes and pertinent to the Chimera, not Chimera, Starship Location books. He's in there as a character, and we're going to see his story in the other one. We're going to find out his origin from there. That should be fun, because he needs his own book, because he's Kitty Key. Because why not? Milk that story to death until people just have to listen to it. I put together stories because I think they're fun. So, yeah. Not because someone else might think they're fun. So, we'll worry about that later. Yeah. So, yeah, there's Spider-Man. And, yeah, so lots of Iron Men there, lots of characters from Rogue One and Star Wars, lots of anime characters. There was a few Guardians of the Galaxy characters, other figurines and things from pop culture, and some furries. There was a sort of dragon manga character that is probably supposed to be Figment from Pony. He's photographed later. Or he's someone else. He's some other. I don't know enough about it to know what it is. But here we have some characters from Halo or something, possibly some Halo. It looks like somebody from the Job Club years ago was in that shot there. Yeah, and he probably was that guy, still dressed doing that same thing. Probably was him. But we did not give out his name. And here we have a Slimer and the Ninja Turtle. So I saw Ernie Ray Jr. again. Said hi to him. Second time I've seen him. And something to the effect of, yeah, it's like, I already have lots of autographed pictures of you and stuff, and I'm going to hang out with you. So, yeah? Why are you over here? No. He liked the kitty key outfit. It's funny. But yeah, he didn't say anything, but he's probably thinking, that's not a real black belt. No. It's from, I bought it on Amazon. It's not a real. We're the real one. No, you're like, it's an imitation. As a costume, it's a costume. But yes, I was. Nobody walked around and said, "Who is this character?" either, so they knew. He's actually. Now we're outside. Kitty Key is actually, that costume with the red shirt is loosely like one of the either the Street Fighter characters or the Ronin characters. So they just figured he's just that. He's not, but they, that. It was cool that the hoodie jacket, TNG style hoodie jacket, was repeated several times. Some of them in blue, some of them yellow, some of them red, like the colors. That was neat. And then we went on to the street fair, or I went on to the street fair, and I was out wandering a street fair and actually did get a shot of the alien. I'm done. Yeah, so, yes, yeah, I'm not going to be rambling on as long as last time, because today was shorter and not as tired and did other things. So this was the final day. Mainly, I went to one panel, like I did yesterday. Yesterday was a panel on science fiction, SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. This one was more about authors and author writing panel thing. After which there was quite a lot of discussion at the author table of this author group, as to regards of writing and putting together stories and things like that. That was after the panel, and there were some interesting guests that were at the con that came to the thing to discuss how they would write a story, and one of them was an example of I don't know who he was, but it was an example of somebody that knows somebody that writes or wants to write, and it has a lot of trouble writing. I won't say what mental illness they had or what issues they had, but they have trouble writing. Their friend did, not them. There was another person that wanted to put out their story, but they were worried that someone would steal it. And there was another person also that echoed that. The authors, including Andy Weir, pretty much said flat out in the panel, at least, that no one really wants to steal your story. It's that there is nothing new under the sun, and that your story may appear similar to your story. I have often gone on about the similarities some of my stories have had to Star Trek over the years, but they didn't steal my ideas. That's impossible. We're just thinking on the same wavelength. We're just like, this would be kind of cool to do this. It's uncanny, but it is not technically ripping it off. Got some exciting DVDs from some vendors, including some horror stories and Star Wars things, and yeah, that too, yesterday I had gone and around to Star Trek people, and most of them took off, but I said hi to some of them. Let's see what else. I'll go on about the author thing a little later because I want to get through the whole spiel. Okay. Today I happened to this convention. Today I happened to meet up with Nichelle Nichols, who is now 84, and she's very kind of feeble, and she was not doing so hot, but she was at the convention, and so I went over there. I didn't want to pay the $50 for the signed picture, but I did buy a picture. It was already pre-done, So I got a picture that's pre-done. But yeah. So yeah, a lot of these Trek guys are getting kind of older, long in the tooth, as my Aunt Martha used to say. And yeah, and so it was good that I got to see Nichelle Nichols and comment on her pioneering in Star Trek and all that such. She was overwhelmed by the fan intake, I think, and was getting ready to probably take a nap or something because there were just people everywhere. But yeah, I didn't want to appear overwhelming either. So yeah, I had seen her 15, 16 years ago. The 2002 one, that would have been 16 years ago. Yeah, yeah. The combination convention, Star Wars Star Trek convention 2002 in San Francisco, and yeah, with Eisenberg and the guy who plays Icheb the Borg and a bunch of other people were there. But yeah, and some people who are no longer with us were there. Yeah, I did go over to the horror host panel again, and I got some horror host stuff. The local authors and horror hosts, and there's exciting horror host news. Some of them got a gig, and horror hosting is returning to KOFY TV 20 in our local area. So you want to check that out. The Creature Features is going to go back on the air. Just so you know, it's not a dying art because it's back. Creature Features will be back on the air in some form on TV 20 very soon, in weeks. So check that out. That's really cool. So those of you that are night owls, like to sit up and watch a guy hosting and riff tracking sort of a horror movie, go for it. You get to see them looking at old horror movies, the classics, the ghostly ones and whatever. All the classics, and I'm sure that Mark's Cards will like that. The Creature Features is back. The horror host guy, Lord Broadroth, he was saying that he was going to take some of his old videos down, and I said, no, leave them up. They show what you did originally. Show your old stuff. I've left my old stuff up on some of my channels. I took it down and put it back up because I wanted not only me to see what it was like back then when my early stuff, which wasn't horror hosting, it's reviews and things. It's different, little different venue, but I thought that it would be cool to have that up and be able to look back on it and go wow, I really did that block really crappy. I was like, oh my god, I was just pointing the camera and not doing anything interesting. Yeah, it's just interesting. So apparently last night they did a big event, and they had I couldn't stay for that, but yes, Danny Crane, Captain Kirk. I didn't see Captain Kirk this time, but yes. So anyway, yeah, and I met some other there was at the author table. Back to the author table, they were hawking the Black Hole book. It was a Black Hole book. I had already bought one. I didn't need to buy two. But last time, and they were really trying to get me to buy more books. But Valerie Finkel, one of the local authors, was there. Originally, when I met this person 5 years ago, she was at the Baycon, and I thought she was somebody from Evergreen College. She looked just like her. Just like her, acted like her. I figured she was this author lady that came to Evergreen and talked. She wasn't, as it turned out. She didn't know anything about the characters from Evergreen, but she looked like her, a lot like her. Which, another author looked like her. It wasn't her cousin, as it turned out. But yeah, there was this other lady that closely resembled her. She'd actually later on apparently appeared in some of the colleges, but it was Evergreen. But yeah, that started up a dialogue with this character I'm coming across these years. But yes, anyway, so yeah, the panel starts, and then panel, and there was this other group doing a thing. They have a writers' workshop, and this younger gentleman, he asked if he can join their writer panel, and they said no, it was closed. And he's like a little disappointed. I said, well, they didn't invite me in there either. So. But yeah, I'm not on the writer panel. I think the what they do on their writer panel is it's a little different, and it's already set how many people, but there's other writer panels that I can join. So yeah, cool. Anyway, so that's pretty much the day. I don't know what that lizard dude was, but that was cool that I saw that there's a character, furry, with a furry outfit with a lizard face, furry pony outfit, lizard face. There's a lot of other goofy stuff, a lot of manga and characters that someone else would recognize. No Charizard this time. Did see somebody that waved at me like it was somebody I know. I don't. Probably somebody ex group or college group or something. Maybe the church group, something. But they, no, it wasn't. There was a story. It was someone else. So yeah, this. Oh yeah, and there was a guy who tripped, and he was in a chef costume from South Park. His big, heavy-set black guy. So he was dressed as chef. And he's all laughing about having tripped, and he's all, well, you know, and was all, well, you know what you ought to do is you ought to lapse into that, you know, just pretend you'd like faked it, and you ought to just like go start singing the chef song, the salty, he's all, oh, the salty ball song, because that's a song from South Park, the character. So I thought that was funny. Yeah, I won't be singing that around the kids. Even though, ironically, on the show, he sings it in front of them. But yes, okay, the thing went off, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, yeah, other than closing comments, editorializing comments, things, I can ramble on incessantly about the craft, just to be all pretentious or something, but basically, I won't. I did discuss the stuff that I wrote. I have published one book under the name Adam Mayer Brown, my real name. I did publish I was an editor, chief editor and rewriter on my grandmother Estelle Knapp's novel Blessings Deferred, which we put that out before that, several years before that, in 2005, and this was 2008. The author panel people hope to, and I hope to be seeing as well as them, that by next year, you will see the Distant Destiny series at a table at that convention, and Star Crackers at a table at that convention. That would be awesome. My books there. Well, it probably won't be that one because you got it like months in advance. It'll probably be the one after, but it'll already be a thing. Let's see. We're on the verge of releasing all of my books, so it's going to be awesome. I was working on 4 books at a time. The Starcracker, the Silly Track, the Starship Meets on Location, the Silly Track, 4 books at the same time, polishing them up. So all these other ones are sitting there, and they're just like, they gotta come out, and yeah, so they'll all be out, and I will tell you what's happening in the future about that. My credentials, well, let's see, I got a couple of degrees from San Jose State, one in English and then in journalism years later. The journalism one was in the process during the beginning of the Kal Kat show at the same time. You notice that my technique for blogging suddenly got really good by late in the at the end of that. By 2011, I was pretty good. In the Access magazine, that was a little later. Spartan Daily newspaper, school newspaper, over 60 articles, mostly interviewee, pop culture-y stuff. My blogs are mainly tabloidy, and I don't care if they're tabloidy, it doesn't matter. My internship was at a tabloid. I have not been published by an official agent, but I understand that now you get an agent later when they look at some of your stuff and they go, hey, that's cool. I even speculated, well, could you be your own agent? And they're like, wow, that blew their mind. They're like, well, I guess you could. But that'd be kind of risky, I would think. So yeah, that's the only way you could get to publish your own stories and actually have a say. Whereas Mr. Andy Weir gave up all the film rights to The Martian when he had it produced. as a movie. It just gave up. I would be happy with giving up film rights to say one of my lesser stories. I could just write a lesser story that's a screenplay and say, here you go. Yeah, sure, film that as a movie. I'll be famous. That'll be cool. So part of the thing with try to get through this quickly. Part of the thing, because I've discussed, you can go look at my Star Trek reviews and Writers Workshop reviews, all this stuff. You can see that juicy stuff if you want to. I don't need to go into all of that, but write often, write as much as possible, and have fun doing it. If you don't have fun doing it, maybe something else is your good hobby. That's it. And and I enjoy writing all the time. So, except for right now, it's kind of cramped up. Writing 4 books at a time. So I don't want to do that for a little bit. But anyway, so that was And if it's really, really hard, if it's like pulling teeth writing, maybe writing's not for you. It was like that with comic books. I tried to write a comic book. The Captain Estriden saga comic book. As a male lizard hero. It didn't work. I spent so much time on minute details of making this graphic novel. Of just the first page of the graphic novel that it was like, okay, this is not gonna do that. No comic books. Illustrations, someone else can do that. I will be illustrating my own covers for my books though. And also they advised that, as I'm closing, if you go to a self-publisher and they demand you give them more money and keep hoarding you for more money, it's a scam. Okay. So it's a scam. The self-publisher should not be. They should be paying you. I understand at a vanity press it's different, and you pay them. But to start out with, they shouldn't ask you for too much to pay them. Over $500 is ridiculous. Don't do that. I did. Don't do that. Go to Amazon. Go to the Amazon website. I think they give you clues and pointers and stuff. And self-publish there to start out with. Get your name out. Get your website out. Get your content out. Market yourself really well. You can become a successful writer. I haven't done that quite yet, but that's what they said. Oh. But yes. Anyway, so that's... I'm not going to discourage you from writing. In fact, write more. Write often. Write a lot. And as some of them said, start with the ending first and go to the beginning. That's a good rule of thumb. However, also, if you don't have a decent story, also some of them were confused about some of the covers of their stuff. Not the authors, but other people came by and looked at their covers. Oh, that's like Lord of the Rings, or that's like... I found one of their covers was like, one of their story ideas was like Lovecraft a little bit. And I wasn't saying they were ripping it off. I was just saying, and it was also like The Thing. I wasn't saying they were ripping it off. It could be a different spin on The Thing. That's fine. Or Lovecraft. You can take out, actually Lovecraft was extremely racist. So you probably want to take out some of that particular author from back in the day. You want to take that stuff out. But the idea of alien, creatures in the Arctic is very cool. Do that. Sure, there's nothing new under the sun. And before I go, let it be known that like even your references and things end up on Star Trek. I was telling one of the story about the odd story of the apple. There was an apple scene. My friends and I had a Star Trek role-playing game in our high school. Have known Hollywood at all. We're all like, it'd be funny if Captain Kirk was like chewing on an apple, like in Wrath of Khan, but more so. And he was like, he took it out of his backpack. He's like, and on Next Generation, Picard gets out the apple, and he's like the very next week, it was bizarre. Picard's got the apple. And then to tell the funnier story, I go to see Star Trek 2009. And they show the Kobayashi Maru test, and they got Captain Kirk, and he reaches into a backpack, and he grabs an apple, and he's... And then I said to the author guy, I'm telling you this funny story, and I tells the author, one of the author dudes at the table, the booth, telling him the story. And I tell him, like, okay, did J.J. Abrams go to high school with us? Because that is, like, spot on what happened in the film. I thought it was funny. So, no. And also I mentioned, because I was there a long time, I mentioned at the panel, and not at the panel, but at their table,